My name is Daniel Wright, and if you asked anyone at school who I was, they'd probably say something safe and ordinary, quiet, shy, one of those students who blends into the background. And in many ways, they'd be right. I was the kind of guy who always sat at the back of the class, hoodie pulled low, notebook open but barely touched. I didn't like attention. In fact, I avoided it like the plague. But there was a secret I carried that none of them could have guessed. Every evening, when the textbooks were closed and the house fell silent, I would open the drawer beneath my bed where I hid things that didn't belong to the boy the world thought I was. Lipsticks in shades of rose and plum. A foundation bottle that was slightly too pale for my skin, but it was the only one I could buy without raising suspicion. A small palette of eyeshadows that shimmered like stolen secrets under the lamplight. And folded neatly beside them, an outfit or two I'd pieced together from thrift stores when no one was looking. It wasn't just clothes or makeup to me, it was escape. When I looked in the mirror after brushing foundation across my cheeks or sliding into a dress, I saw a version of myself that felt real, in a way Daniel never quite did. I didn't even have a name for her, not yet. But I knew she was someone I wanted to see more of. Someone freer, bolder, maybe even happier. The trouble was, secrets like mine don't stay hidden forever. The story really begins on an ordinary Wednesday afternoon, though nothing about that day felt ordinary to me. The hallways of Westbridge High buzzed with the usual chaos, lockers slamming shut, sneakers squeaking against the tile floors, laughter and gossip bouncing between classrooms. I kept my head low, weaving through the crowd, praying no one noticed the faint trace of eyeliner I'd forgotten to scrub completely off the night before. That's when I passed her, Ms. Hayes. She wasn't just any teacher. She was the kind of teacher people remembered long after graduation, the one who carried herself with sharp confidence and a smile that could cut or soothe, depending on how she aimed it. Tall, elegant, always dressed like she belonged on a magazine cover instead of behind a chalkboard. She taught literature, which only seemed fitting. Everything about her felt like a story you wanted to read. And she had a way of looking at people that made you think she already knew your secrets. Her eyes caught mine as I hurried past, and for a split second, I froze. Did she notice? The tiny smear of eyeliner? The way I clutched my bag too tightly, as though guarding something hidden inside? She didn't say anything, but her raised eyebrow and faintly curious smile lingered with me the rest of the day. When I got home that afternoon, Emma called. Emma was my girlfriend, or at least, that's what I kept telling myself. She was beautiful, funny, and smart, the kind of girl who could walk into a room and make everyone notice. I'd been lucky when she agreed to go out with me, but luck always felt fragile. With Emma, I was constantly afraid of slipping, of showing some side of myself that might make her pull away. "Hey, you're quiet," she said on the phone, her voice soft but probing. "Rough day?" "Sort of," I muttered, kicking off my shoes by the door. Emma was the kind of person who liked honesty, and I tried to give it to her, but never the full truth. She didn't know about the drawer beneath my bed. She didn't know that when I told her I was too tired to hang out, what I really meant was, I needed to see her. The other her. The girl in the mirror. Sometimes I wondered if Emma would understand. She was open-minded, but this was different. This was me breaking every expectation she had of who her boyfriend was supposed to be. So I kept silent. That evening, after we hung up, I sat on my bed staring at the drawer. My heart beat like a warning drum. I wanted to open it, to pull everything out and become her again. But I also knew Emma had hinted she might stop by tomorrow. What if she came early? What if I didn't have time to clean up? And then there was Ms. Hayes's look earlier that day, sharp, knowing. The thought of her eyes watching me while I painted eyeliner across my lids made my hands tremble. But temptation was stronger than fear. I opened the drawer. The room transformed with me. The shadows seemed softer, the silence thicker. I set the mirror on the desk, turned on the lamp, and started. The cool touch of foundation against my skin. The sweep of eyeshadow in faint gold that caught the light just right. The glide of lipstick, sweet and dangerous all at once. Each step peeled Daniel away, layer by layer, until he was just a ghost hovering in the edges of the mirror. And then, when I pulled the wig over my head, soft waves brushing against my shoulders. I felt her come alive again. The version of me that the world wasn't supposed to see. For a moment, I wasn't hiding. I was shining. I twirled slightly, catching sight of myself in the full-length mirror by the closet. The dress hugged my body in a way that made me blush and smile at the same time. My heels were clumsy, but even the awkward sway felt like freedom. And yet, under the thrill, there was always the same voice whispering. What if someone finds out? What if Emma walks in? What if Miss Hayes's suspicious look wasn't just in your imagination? I shook it off, pressing my lips together to savor the lipstick's taste. Tonight, I told myself, was mine. No one had to know. But deep down, I felt it, the story was already shifting. Secrets like mine never stayed secrets for long. It happened on a Friday afternoon, the day everything I thought I controlled finally slipped away. Emma had mentioned earlier in the week that she might come over after school. Might, she had said casually, as if leaving me a coin toss between relief and terror. So when the last bell rang, I should have gone straight home, cleaned up, made sure everything was in order. But I didn't. Instead, I lingered in the empty classroom after everyone left. Ms. Hayes had asked me to stay again. Her gaze was steady, her smile unreadable. "You're a quiet one, Daniel," she began, leaning against her desk. But quiet doesn't mean invisible. I noticed things. More than most. My throat tightened. Like what? Ms. Hayes stood there, one brow arched, her gaze sweeping over the chaos, the smudged makeup, the half-hidden dress, the trembling boy caught in the act. Silence stretched like a noose. I can explain," I whispered. Her eyes softened, though the smile tugging at her lips was sharp. "No need," she said, stepping inside and closing the door behind her. "I've already seen enough." My knees nearly buckled. "Please don't." "Don't what?" she asked, tilting her head. "Don't tell anyone? Don't think less of you." She walked closer, her heels clicking softly. "Daniel, or should I say, whoever it is I'm looking at right now." My face burned. I wanted to disappear, to melt into the floor. "You're beautiful," she said suddenly, her voice low. My eyes snapped to hers. "What?" "You heard me." Her smile widened slightly. "You've been hiding, but you shouldn't. Because right now, in front of me, you're not just Daniel. You're the perfect girl." Her words hit me like a storm, shock, fear, and something dangerously close to relief swirling inside me. "No, I'm not," I stammered. "I'm not." "Yes," she cut in, her tone firm. "You are." I backed away, trembling, torn between the need to deny it and the desperate wish to believe her. "What do you want from me?" I whispered. She studied me carefully, her gaze unflinching. "Only this, that you stop lying to yourself. That you stop hiding from the truth. You think no one sees you, but I do. I see you. And you're far more than you've let yourself believe." Her words should have comforted me. Instead, they terrified me. Because if Ms. Hayes saw me this clearly, then Emma might too. And if Emma saw, what then? The sound of a buzzing phone shattered the moment. My phone, lying on the desk. A message lit up the screen. "Emma, on my way. Be there in 10. The blood drained from my face. Ms. Hayes's eyes flickered to the phone, then back to me. "She doesn't know, does she?" I shook my head, mute, her lips curved faintly. "Like the way you avoid mirrors in class. The way you look down when people laugh. And the way your eyes light up at certain things." She didn't explain what certain things meant. She didn't have to. My face burned. Before I could stammer a reply, she straightened. "Go on home. But think about what I said. Hiding won't keep you safe forever." The words followed me like a curse. At home, the house was empty. Too empty. My parents had left for the weekend. Emma hadn't texted yet, and the silence felt like an invitation. I should have stayed cautious. I should have waited. Instead, I opened the drawer. This time, I didn't just dress. I transformed. The foundation was smoother now, the eyeliner sharper, the lipstick bold, a daring shade of crimson I'd never used before. The wig flowed in glossy waves, framing my face like it belonged there all along. I slipped into my favorite dress, black and sleek, hugging me in all the right places. When I fastened the heels, I didn't wobble this time. I walked, confident. And when I looked in the mirror, I gasped, not because I didn't recognize myself, but because I did. For once, I wasn't Daniel hiding behind layers. I was her. Entirely. I was still smiling when the knock came. 3 sharp raps at the door. My blood went cold. Emma? No, she always texted first. I froze, debating whether to answer. Maybe if I stayed quiet, they'd leave. But the knocking came again, firmer. Heart racing, I crept to the door and peered through the peephole. And my stomach dropped. Ms. Hayes. Panic seized me. She can't see me like this. She can't. I darted back, nearly tripping over my heels. The mirror caught me mid-motion, mocking me with the sight of a girl in full glamour, eyes wide with terror. The knocking came again. Daniel? Ms. Hayes's voice was calm, steady. Too steady. I know you're in there. My breath hitched. How did she know? I scrambled toward the drawer, shoving at the wig, smearing the lipstick with the back of my hand. My dress snagged on the chair as I yanked it off, the fabric tearing slightly. My nails, still painted, scratched against the wood as I stuffed everything into hiding. But it was too late. The door creaked open. I spun. Her smile turned faintly sly. Then you have a choice to make. Right here. Right now. Will you greet her as Daniel? Or as the girl I see standing in front of me? My chest constricted. My mind raced. 10 minutes. 10 minutes until the world I'd so carefully balanced collapsed. And standing there, caught between Ms. Hayes's piercing gaze and Emma's impending arrival, I realized there was no safe option left. The truth was coming, whether I wanted it or not. The minutes before Emma arrived felt like an eternity. Ms. Hayes hadn't left. She stood by the window, arms folded, watching me struggle with trembling hands as I tried to wipe away the lipstick, to tug the wig off, to become Daniel again before it was too late. Stop, she said firmly. I froze. Her eyes locked on mine in the mirror. You think hiding will save you? It won't. She'll know. One way or another, she'll know. I can't let her see me like this, I whispered. My voice cracked. Ms. Hayes stepped closer, her reflection appearing over my shoulder. But this is you. And if you're too afraid to show her, then maybe you don't trust her as much as you think. I squeezed my eyes shut. Please just go. But she didn't. She stayed silent, waiting. And then, the knock. Sharp, cheerful, oblivious. Daniel? Emma's voice rang through the door. It's me. My breath caught. Ms. Hayes's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. This is it. The moment you can't run from. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. The girl in the mirror stared back at me. Lipstick smudged. Eyeliner still bold. The wig slightly askew. Half me, half someone I wasn't sure I was ready to name. The doorknob rattled. Daniel? Are you okay? Emma called again, her tone shifting with concern. I stumbled toward the door, nearly tripping on my heels, one hand clawing at the wig, the other desperately wiping at my face. Daniel, she said louder, knocking harder. Behind me, Ms. Hayes's voice cut through the panic. Open it. Let her see. She deserves the truth. And so do you. I froze at the door, my hand hovering over the knob. Emma's voice was closer now, right outside. If you don't open up, I'm coming in. The silence in the room felt deafening. I looked back one last time. The girl in the mirror, flawed, trembling, messy, yet still undeniably there. Still undeniably me. And then, the lock clicked. The door swung open. Emma stood there, her smile fading, her eyes widening as they landed on me. On her. On the secret I could no longer hide. Daniel, she whispered, her voice breaking between shock and disbelief. And before I could speak, before I could explain, Ms. Hayes's voice floated softly from behind me. Not Daniel. The perfect girl. Emma's expression twisted. Confusion, betrayal, something else I couldn't name. just as the screen of my phone buzzed again on the desk, vibrating with another message I didn't dare read. I opened my mouth, but the words wouldn't come. The world hung in that fragile silence. And then, the story cut to black. And that's where we leave it. Emma's face frozen in shock, Ms. Hayes's words hanging in the air, and Daniel caught between the boy he was and the girl he couldn't deny. What happens next? Will Emma accept him, or walk away forever? And what role will Ms. Hayes play in the unraveling of his secret? Tell me in the comments, what do you think Emma will do? Would you hide, or would you let yourself be seen? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for the next part of the story.